TLDC in Mission Bay, San Diego. Beautiful part of the world. In fact, you can probably see a little bit of the harbor behind us, or the marina. Very, very pretty out here. And I've got with me right now Sharon Tipton. Hi, Sharon. How are you?
Shannon, I'm great. That's okay. I'll answer just about anything nowadays.
I know you do. I do know her name. Yeah. She used to be Sharon. Now she's Sharon. No, I'm just joking.
That's right. Just for you. Just for you.
Oh God, it's lack of sleep. That's what it is.
It's okay. This one is not bad. I got this lovely view out my window. Oh, what's not to love?
It is actually. We got the same view. We have that ocean view. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
So what are you doing here at the show?
Well, first off, I'm just loving this because it's the first one, and I'm loving how interactive everything is. And everyone is talking and learning and communicating in the back channel really strong. So I really love that. What specifically I'm doing is I have two sessions. One about micro-learning and micro-time. You know, a lot of times people come knocking at our doors and they want something yesterday. And while we need to create that, it doesn't mean that it's got to be bad, right? You know, so how do you create good micro-learning objects in a short period of time? So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to do some lessons. And then the second one is blogging for learning, which I think is a really underutilized tool to bring learning into an organization. So when you think about blogging to learn from, it's not about information dump. It's really about putting strong information out there that creates action. So we want people to analyze, we want them to synthesize information, we want them to take ideas and do something with them. So when you can write a blog that encourages that kind of learning and action, you gotta win.
It's interesting how many companies don't share the knowledge that much.
I know.
And so when people look, they may have something like a Google appliance where you can do searching for stuff, but there's no sharing of knowledge. It's just encyclopedic. Here's our reference manual.
Right. Right. Just like we were talking about before, it's like we write these novels, like fiction novels, and we understand why people don't read them. It's not interesting fiction.
That's true. And we were talking about instructional designers tend to write too much.
Too much. Way too much.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, definitely.
Well, you know, it's interesting. A lot of people think that the more you write, the more volume you create, therefore you're more valuable.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you don't need that much.
No. I think now the value is provoking thought. So if I can get an organization to create more ideas and to problem solve and to do action learning sets, even if it's virtual, I think that's where the value lies. The value comes from the end product of that. So you have a whole organization thinking of how do we solve this bigger problem, and then you have value. You know, so it's not about the fact that I created a 1,500 word blog piece, you know, that maybe two people have read. The value comes from the output of that.
So are you doing a lot of work with the micro learning, with smaller snippets of information, knowledge, rather than here's your Encyclopedia Britannica, have a good day?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, some of the work that I do for Learning Rebels, my business, and some of that is I create lessons for my readers who participate in the Rebellion newsletter. And there's a specific part of the newsletter that's for workshops, if you will. And what I do with them is I create micro-learning objects for that group of people. And so when they sign up for the workshops for Learning Rebels, then what they get is the occasional, here's your one lesson. Here are two lessons that come over your email, and they're really short. They're a video, they're a short little workbook or job aid or something along those lines where people can take information and run with it. And that's stuff that we just give away for free, but still, it's fun, and I get a lot of good response from that.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So what else have you been up to?
Oh my gosh, we've just been super busy. I have been traveling all over the place, just working with different organizations to help them with their instructional design methodologies, and also coaching some organizations and some training leaders on how they can get out of their ruts as a training department and think a little bit more into the 21st century about blended learning and flipped learning. And then also, interesting is some of the conversations I've been having with some of the learning leaders within organizations they want to know how they can upskill their people. You know, what are the best classes? What should they be reading? What should they be doing? And that's really exciting. Those are great conversations to have.
Don't you find it funny sometimes that in the learning departments, nobody wants to learn?
Oh yeah, we're like the Cobblers Children.
Yeah.
We really are. And we do not model the behavior well. We don't. We don't.
I've said for years that if you work in a company, let's say it's a banking company or let's say it's manufacturing, learn the business. Because if you don't, you're not going to have a job when they do layoffs. And who gets laid off first? Usually marketing and training.
That's right. Because we're the ones spending the dollars. I'll tell you, when I was in the corporate environment before I went out on my own, any job that I took, a corporate gig that I took, I had to be interested in the work they were doing because I knew that I was going to have to learn how to do it.
Right.
You know, so I've had some fascinating jobs, and I think it's just because of that innate curiosity that I think that every learning professional should have.
And once you're seen by the company, now you've got knowledge that's actually valuable, and they don't want to lose that because it's hard to get that knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, your role is twofold, is to show value to the organization, you know, that if we go in this direction as an organization, you can make money, improve retention, et cetera, et cetera. And secondarily, it's to improve the overall learning organization, that part of it. So as to improve that marketing aspect or that brand aspect, if you will, of having a learning organization. Yeah. You know, and so if you can hit it on those two fronts, then as a department, you've got value. You know, and then who wants to get rid of the value? No one.
No, because it's very expensive to get rid of value, and it's so hard to find good people.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of organizations, as you well know, you know, they promote from within. So you were a great manager, so subsequently now you're a great manager trainer. You know, right. So that happens a lot.
It's the Peter principle.
It really is, and it comes back to bite a lot of organizations in the woohoo, you know, often.
And then the other problem is when they have good people, they don't want to move them out of where they're at because they're good at one thing that they want.
That's right.
But as a result, then the person gets bored and leaves.
Right, right. Which is why I love what Allison said earlier. So in her
Allison was the keynote.
She was keynote. And what she said was, as L&D people, and she was talking about happiness in general, but there was one snippet that I took out of that, is that as L&D people, part of our role is to connect people with other smart people. And that is so true. We should be curators of that. We should be tour guides, if you will. You know, I should have a good finger on the pulse of the smart people within the organization so we can connect them and improve the overall strength of the organization.
That's a really good point, too, because a lot of people, let's say you're not the sharpest tool in the shed, you hang out with tools that are less sharp usually than you are, which doesn't make anybody come up, you know. Right. You know, rising tide lifts all ships, but not if the ship's not going anywhere. You're kind of tethered, and
no one's moving forward.
Yeah, and so one of the key things there is to make sure that you do get a little mental stimulation from other people in the company which are going somewhere, or at least interested in something.
Right. And sometimes it just starts with that nugget, doesn't it? It's like, I find you interesting, you find me interesting, let's talk a little bit, and then you find out that you have some common intellectual areas, right. You know, which then together you can lift the areas that you're in.
Well, that brings up another good point. Even though people talk a lot in companies with each other, there's not a lot of real talking going on inside companies.
No, there's a lot of smiling and nodding going on, is what it is, you know. So nobody's really asking deeper questions. It's, so how long have you been here, but not about, so tell me what you're proud of from being here for so long. You know, things like that.
Now, have you gone yet to the reflection pond, not reflection pond, the reflection center?
I haven't. They started that at 7 a.m. this morning.
Really?
Yeah, it was really super early, and my reflection is over a cup of coffee at 7 a.m.
At 7 a.m. we were having breakfast at the restaurant, reflecting on how well we felt eating.
Yes, exactly. So no, I have not, but I plan to hit it later on this afternoon, you know, to be able to talk with some people and find out how everything's going.
Well, Jennifer and Margie are running the Reflection Center. It's really interesting because they're combining meditation techniques, journaling techniques, exercise, whatever it takes, just reflecting, thinking about life, not just, you know, a lot of times, and I've heard this many times, I've been a manager for a long time, and if you sit back sometimes and just kind of contemplate what you're doing, people go, oh, you're not busy?
Right,
No,
exactly.
I'm very busy. I'm just not with my hands on the keyboards.
Yeah, I'm just not overt
Yeah.
about it.
Because you have to think about it, especially if you've done any kind of architectural work, or if you're architecting a system or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Some of your time is spent thinking about it.
Right.
Not just type. And,
I completely agree with that.
I keep thinking that as much as I love email and messaging, it's probably the biggest distractor on earth.
Oh, right. You have to turn off the ding, so you get the ding, 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 and you feel
But
compelled.
then when we salivate.
I know. It's like, oh, what am I missing in the world? And
Okay, when was the last time you've been to a restaurant and you hear the phone ring and immediately everybody starts going, is it mine? Is it mine? Wipe the drool. They love me.
that's right. Who posted something? You're on Yelp and you're checking out the restaurant.
Yeah.
You're checking out the conversations.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
And you place your order and go, wait a minute, this restaurant's hated by everybody. Can I get out?
I know. It's like you have this third party in your group, or this
Yeah.
outside party in your group that's uninvited, but yet it still makes a lot of noise.
I had a friend of mine was in Germany not too long ago, and he was having dinner with 3 people, and they're all on their phones talking to each other via messaging
gosh.
at a table, and he's going, you people are insane.
Oh my
And they
gosh.
went, you don't understand. And the German, "Yeah, you don't understand.
You're right. I don't understand.
And he was going, but we're having a conversation. No, we are too. Wow. I guess that is the industrial world gone awry, but
I guess it's all about perspective, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I love the idea of journaling and a little quiet time and a little peace. I'm
Yeah.
totally with you on that.
but yeah, we don't do enough of it.
No, we don't. Not near enough.
They said if you do 10 minutes a day, just 10, not a lot of time, 10 minutes, that's 5, 10 minutes
Right.
of reflection, meditation, just calm. That will probably do more for your brain, for your connections, for your heart, everything, than never stopping.
Wow.
Never stopping. 10 minutes. Get into a relaxed state. Breathing. That's another big one. People don't breathe. We're
No,
rushing.
We're busy.
We're busy.
We're busy being happy.
Okay, that person just died. They weren't breathing. Oh, it happens. But he just finished his project, so that's good.
That's right.
But it's funny. We are disconnected
We are.
from ourselves sometimes. And that kind of goes back to what you were saying about mentoring people and coaching. A lot of times they're disconnected from what they're doing.
They are. Right.
And they need that outside person to come in and say, duck, 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 yeah, oh, what?
Yeah.
Take
Take
a
a
look
look
at
over
that.
here.
Yeah.
Look, something shiny over here that's
Yeah.
really, really good for you.
Yeah, light, shiny.
Right, because we get into that rut, and we always do what we've always done, and we don't realize that as we're doing this, we're digging ourselves in deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's harder to get out of that rut. And then when you want to get out of it, then you're struggling because you're trying to climb up the wall, and you can't get out, and you don't know how to get out. And, you
And
need
then they
help.
burn out.
Then they burn out. Yep, they do.
And then
Yeah.
they say, I hate my job. But it's not your job you hate, it's the way you react to your job.
That's right. It's the process that you put around the job that you hate. Remember why you got into it in the first place.
Yeah, I see that all the time in people we've hired and people that we've worked with. And you can see when they're starting to burn out, and you try to get their attention, and it's so hard to pull somebody in burnout out of it.
Right.
Because they're in, well, I'm burning out, leave me alone, I'm burning, I'm fully combusting right now, and that's important.
Do not give me water. I don't need it.
That's right. This is all planned, yes.
That's right.
But and it's a shame. And in learning, I've seen a lot of that.
Yes.
It's seen because a lot of times, I used to be in IT too. I was a 20-year IT pro, and in the IT world, I used to tell people that work with me, do not expect to be loved. Don't expect to be thanked. Don't expect anything to happen other than they will hate your guts for one mistake you've made. It doesn't matter what you've done that's great, that one mistake, you're evil. You're a service organization. Go out and provide service and have the confidence in you to know you're doing a good job. Because the users are finicky, they're fussy. It's like they only remember the one thing. Same with trainers.
Right.
They'll remember all the good you did for a minute, but they'll remember you told me something incorrect. That they'll remember to the day they die.
Isn't that the truth?
And that's part of making people have their own self-esteem, their own worth.
Right.
And then when they know that they're doing a good thing, they don't have to worry so much about, and that also helps reduce the burnout factor because they're not constantly worried about, unless they do a horrible job, that's something else. But a lot of people just don't have a lot of confidence.
Right.
And
I think it's about understanding your greater purpose. And when you lose touch with your greater purpose, and then that's where people start to flounder.
well, because you have somebody that people go, I have a purpose.
True. Some people don't even realize that, or they haven't even made that discovery yet.
There's a lot.
There are a lot, and I know
lot.
in the industry itself there are a lot of people who struggle with that. But I think that overall, as an industry, we could do more to help each other.
Yeah.
And I hate to get all soft and warm and fuzzy on you, but I think that there are more opportunities for us to reach out and help those people who really haven't maybe found their greater purpose and their passion.
Also, the funny thing is, their companies don't really care about that often.
Right.
You're doing your job, that's all they care about.
Right.
It doesn't matter how well you are, how not well you are, and the stresses of a job. Depending on what you do, like I know a lot of people do customer service. It's a hard job.
Yes, no thank you.
And it's routine, and you can't leave your phone, you can't leave your desk, you're stuck. And they do it really, really well with a smile, and you just go, wow, I have total respect for that, because I go, how do you do that? I once talk about good customer service. I'm always preaching good customer service. So one time we had a client, this is years ago, 20-something years ago, we sold a software product which was called Icon Author in those days. It was an old authoring tool. They competed with Authorware.
Oh, all right.
Icon Author was really good. We sell it to this client, 50 floppies. That's how long ago that is. Hard floppies, yes, 50. And I said, but we could send it to you with a DVD or a CD, and they went, we don't have any CD readers. So I sent them a CD reader.
Oh, there you go.
With a CD. They were happy. That was one CD did everything the 50 floppies did. And I got a call back from a lady there, and she said, how dare you send us equipment that is foreign to this corporation?
Oh.
I go, I think it was made in the U.S., if that counts, but I was just being cynical. But she was not to be happy with. And finally, I said, in good customer service manner, you know what, lady, I don't need to do business with you. Send it back. I don't care.
Yeah, right.
And I was going, well, that wasn't really good customer service. I get a call back an hour later from the people we sold it to saying, no, you did great. Don't worry about it. And they actually fired that lady. I guess we were one of many problems.
Oh, okay.
But it was an interesting thing. I totally broke with good customer service. I was irritated.
Sometimes you have to.
I go, look, we're going out of our way to help you guys, and you kick us? Screw you. We don't need this. That's the New Yorker comes out. I grew up there. And I go, I guess it comes out every so often. And it was so funny because they said, no, you did great. And then everything was fine. They got the things installed. They were happy.
That's a woman who didn't know her purpose.
No, or anybody else's. She was just an angry person.
Right.
And as a vendor, we were trying to solve a problem, not create one.
Right.
And I wouldn't have minded. I would have worked, but she was so nasty. Right. It's like, you're going to be nasty. We don't need this. Life's short.
Life is too short. Life is too short for that, isn't it?
It is.
It really is.
And I go, we do you a favor, you don't like it? You know what? We don't need to work together. Because there's a client who will like us, who will appreciate. And
that's right.
Life is just too short.
Right. That's why I try to tell other L&D people to not wrap up your self-value, your personal worth or professional worth within your organization. You have to be able to detach from that.
Right, because if anything goes wrong in the company, now it's their fault. They feel it.
Exactly.
And, all you can really ask people to do is a good job.
That's right. And I'm all for, a lot of my own value I always saw within my work. I'm as good as my work, but that doesn't mean that I'm as good as my organization. So don't mix up the two. You are valuable.
You've managed a lot of people too.
Yeah, I've been.
You've had big teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
And that's a talent and skill in and of itself.
Thank you. I'd like to think that they were happy with me. But that was allowing them. One is that trust. Trust your people. That was always the biggest thing. And I always told them that I hired you for a reason. I hired you to do this job. I'm going to let you do that job.
Right.
And let them go off and do what they wanted to do. If it met our goals, great. That was really the end result. Are we all together reaching that end result and letting them be the people that they needed to be?
I'm always saying 3 lines, which I've heard somewhere, but I really believe in it. Do your job.
That's it.
We can worry about everything else later, but in the meantime, do your job.
That's right.
It doesn't take that much.
People would come and say, well, I need this time off, I need that time off. Great. Are we still going to meet this goal? Mm-hmm. Yes. Then, okay. Have at it.
We have a goal?
we set goals. And people like Allison also said this in the keynote, is that people like clarity of expectation. And I completely agree with that. It's like running a race and not knowing when to stop.
That's true, and some of these jobs don't ever seem to really stop.
Right.
But that's, I've been in the consulting business for 35 years almost, in different forms, whether it's IT consulting and 21 years in the training and e-learning industry. And we don't really stop often. You just go. In consulting services, you go.
Yep. And you have those incremental milestones that you want to hit.
Right, you hit your projects, you hit your client deadlines, but you go because it never really stops.
Right.
And you know that you're doing consulting now.
That's right. That's right.
You're saying, I had it good before in my full-time
I know.
job, didn't you?
It's like it's the only profession out there where you leave a 40-hour work week to work an 80-hour work week. It's like
I keep joking that I make less now than I did 25 years ago after I quit one VP-ship I had, and I go, something's wrong with that picture, but I have the freedom to come and go, and
I am much happier. I am much happier from a true sense of happiness. I have control of my destiny, which I did before, but now it's my destiny.
Yeah.
My goals as my own organization. So that really says something, and I like having that peace of mind, if you will, that I can control what I want to do and how I want to do it, and I can work more towards what I consider the greater goal, of Learning Rebels, which is to, lift learning in the workplace and to help people be better versions of themselves professionally.
Right.
And I can really focus on that, and I think that that's a lot of where happiness can stem from.
that's true. Well, Shannon, a pleasure seeing you again. It's been a while.
It has been.
And
we gotta talk more often.
And I do know her name. I told you I knew her name. I don't know my own name sometimes, but I know her name.
That's okay.
Somebody asked me, what's your name? Shannon. No, that's wrong. I'm Rick. But thank you for watching. We'll have more interviews later on throughout the day, and have a good one. Take care.
Bye now.
Bye, Shannon.
Bye.
That was fun.
It was fun. Thank you for bringing me.